This is the Alden Report.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be wicked happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, my name is Mike Alden. We are here in Blue Vase Studios. As always, I say how excited I am to have my guests on because, one, it's a bit of a, I've talked about this before. I'm a little selfish. I love to learn from other people that are doing great things. My next guest is Lisa Haisha. She is a world traveler. She's an internationally recognized author. She's an internationally recognized speaker. She's probably one of the most connected people that I've ever had on the podcast. She's got a book that has just come out called SoulBlazing, and she's going to talk a little bit about, our souls and how to really kind of emanate within us the things that we really want to, kind of share with the rest of the world. We've talked a little bit offline, and she's really, really interesting. Her life, I told her when we first talked, I'm like, you need to write a book. She's like, well, I already have. So please help me welcome Lisa Haisha. Lisa, thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So first thing I want to ask about is, well, I got a lot of questions, but let's talk about this whole traveling thing. I did the backpack. I think I told you this. I did the backpacking in Europe thing right out of college, and I was fortunate to be able to do that. I think you've been to like 60 countries. You've been in like war zones. Talk a little bit about the genesis of that and why you started doing all that stuff.
Well, it's because I grew up under a Baghdad roof. And if you understand humans, nobody gets away with their childhood unscathed. We all have our childhood wounds. And mine was that everyone was dangerous. Everyone's a stranger. Don't trust strangers. And I grew up under, a Baghdad roof in San Diego. And the only thing my parents would let us do is really go to, weddings, funerals, baptisms within the family. And we don't want you dating. You can't spend the night at friend's house. No camping, no this, because everyone's dangerous. Everyone's out to get you or rape you or hurt you or do something. I'm like, oh, the world's so scary out there. And we went to Catholic schools, grade school and high school. And so like 300 kids, everyone was white and wealthy or together in some way. I never witnessed bullying. I never witnessed anything. And,
before you continue, it's interesting that you say that because you're one of the first people that's ever actually said, what you just said, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of, motivational speakers like yourself, authors, they like me, experience pain and trauma and just crazy adversity at the beginning. But what you're saying is, no, that's not really what happened to me. I was sheltered. And it's interesting too, because the pain and adversity that a lot of us have gone through, we use that to our advantage. But in a way, your sheltering was your pain and your trauma. It doesn't sound like it, but I know people that have gone through that stuff, and it could even be worse than other types of trauma that we hear about.
Oh, absolutely. That's such a great point, because when you have no voice, this is how you think, this is how you feel, this is who you could hang out with, this is your political party, this is how women think, this is who you have to marry, this is who your friends can be. We don't like these cultures or these people and stay away from them. These people hurt you. It's like, oh, really? It's like all these things. It's like, I've never experienced anything, and I'm supposed to take this at face value. And of course you do, because you love your parents and that's all you know. But then one day when I was 16, I was baking a cake a few houses down, and my father worked 8:30 or 8 in the morning till 11 p.m., 7 days a week. And that day he happened to be home because he was starting to, relax a little bit. And he was so shocked I was out when the street lights were on. And I said, I was just baking a cake 3 houses down. He's like, what are you doing? Walking in the streets like a whore. I'm like, it's my school uniform. It's like, no, just baking a cake. It's her birthday. And we want to surprise her. And he went crazy. I'm sending you to an orphanage. Mom, send her to an orphanage. I'm like, what is an orphanage? And then I'm like, if I had the money, I'd move out. He's like, well, here's money. And I said, great. Then he said, why should I give you money? And he took it away. And I like, went to my room, cried. But at that moment, something changed. And as you know, as an entrepreneur and a person who studies life, an incident like that could ruin you for life, or, you can make lemons, or, it's lemons or lemonade, it's just one way. You have to resolve it or just hold, oh, I wasn't loved. I wasn't accepted. I was rejected. He wanted to give me away. So as I was going through life at 22, I decided I wanted to move to Los Angeles and be an actress, because a psychic, when I was 10, my maternal grandmother came home and said, I went to a psychic before your mother married, and they said she was going to marry a foreigner and have 5 girls, and one was going to be a star. And I'm like, I get to be the star.
That's you.
My other sisters were like, whatever. I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I don't either, but I'm going to figure it out. It sounds great. It sounded like freedom to me. So I started researching, Audrey Hepburn and Liz Taylor and, all these great stars, and reading their autobiographies. And then I got obsessed with all these people. I started reading Simone de Beauvoir, who talked about women, and, all these artists, Anais Nin and her journals, and how transparent she was. And I started getting excited, going, there's so much out there that I don't know. And I wasn't interested in them before. Dorothy Parker, all these people. And then I started going, I'm moving to LA and I'm going to be an actress because I'm going to be famous. So you can't be a writer or a producer because you're a girl. You only could act or model. So, okay, I'll act. So I went up there and I was so naive, and almost every job I got, you have to do 8 seconds of nudity, 10 seconds of nudity. Hey, let's go in the back and I'll make your career, and let's do this. And this is how, like,
the casting couch, the infamous casting couch.
Yes. And I was so naive. I was like a little fawn in the headlights, and everyone said, you won't last 6 months. It's what's up there.
What's interesting too about what you said is that, well, you said you're Catholic. What are your parents' ethnic backgrounds? Because it sounds like they're kind of old school.
My father is from Iraq, so he was Christian Iraqi, and my mom was Protestant.
Okay, yeah. So I can understand that why he was trying to protect you, having probably grown up there. That makes a lot of sense. So it's interesting. You go there and you're talking about some of the dark world of Hollywood, and you were subjected to that. You're pretty lucky that you probably didn't get really taken advantage of, I guess, because you were sheltered in a way, right? I mean, I guess there's the silver lining, right?
Yeah, it was ingrained in me of who to be, how to be. And I thought, if I ever do anything, I have Uncle Habib, Uncle Zawi, Muad, Riyad, Najib, all staring at me, or they'd see it on the screen. And they said, if you do anything, my dad was the 14th child. Everyone had 5 or 9 kids, and it's like, you're going to ruin not only your sisters, but all your cousins. Everyone's name is going to be destroyed because of your action. That's like, whoa. So it's like, I can't do anything. I got a soap opera. I can't even fake a love scene under the covers. Nope. Yeah, I'm supposed to kiss someone like in their ear. And I said, I'll whisper, I won't kiss. I'll do it. So everything was such a battle. And then I got a Pierce Brosnan HBO, like $6 million movie. That was like my biggest, but then they wanted me nude the whole time, like this, where he's sculpting me, but still I'm nude. They said, oh no, you all have like the, beige, like little underwear stuff, but the audience won't see. I said, yeah, but it appears nude. It's still as bad as being nude to my family. I said, I can't do it. And that's when I quit. I said, that's the last straw. Working hard for 2 years, trying to be this actress, and every role I had to turn down. I did a handful of sitcoms and stuff like that, but that's not where I wanted to go. It was all, superficial to me.
So that brings you to how old were you then at that point?
I moved at like 22, at 24, I quit.
So 24, you quit.
Yeah.
Just deciding to become an actress is somewhat of a pretty rebellious move as it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go on this like epic worldwide journey, so to speak. Like what made you decide to do that? Or do I have the timing off there? Was it shortly thereafter?
Yeah. After I graduated, from college, I went on a European vacation with a friend, and my parents said I couldn't. Well, my dad more than my mom, but he said I couldn't. So I just left a note. Sorry, I'm in Europe. Don't get mad at me. And I took off. So when he came home, I was gone. Then, of course, I was, naive. So it was like, come rip me off. Day one, I get my suitcase taken. Day two, I got this stolen. And three, then someone stole all my money and everything. And I had, Dad, send me money, Dad. He's like, I told you.
I told you
there are bad people in the world. And Italy, someone slaps your ass. And on a boat from Brindisi to Greece, I'm laying there because we're on the ship, and men on top of you trying to like rape. What are you doing? I'm like, you big dope. And it's like, I'm thinking of my words because at that age, someone's hurt, you big dope. Stop that. That's not good manners. People came and nothing happened at the end of the day. I never really got hurt, but I had all these experiences. Then as I became a more cultured person and more experienced, none of that happened anymore. I traveled a lot. I go to Iraq all over. I mean, all these places, and nobody hurts me. So it's just how you present yourself. And that's what made me realize your vibration is everything. How you vibrate in the world, for friendships, for work, for travel. How do you become a millionaire is a big question I get. And it's not the way to manifest great wealth is most people imagine, it makes me feel safe, or I need to feel secure. I just need to have $1 million because it'll make my whole life easier. And none of that works, because you manifest, or manifestation arises from high self-esteem and knowing who you are and raising that vibration. And you raise your vibration each day by doing a morning routine. I'm sure you do a morning routine, because everyone successful I know does something in the morning to create your day. Otherwise, the day creates you. You just go, I got this call. Oh, sure, I'll go meet you for lunch. Oh, let me watch the news for a minute. 2 hours later, you're still there. Now you're eating a bag of chips, and now you're drinking soda, whatever it is. You're like, dang, tomorrow's day one.
You just described me at night. That's my nighttime ritual.
Yeah, that's okay. A little more at night, but a lot of people just, their days go, and they're entrepreneurs and they don't have a job. They have no structure, and somehow each day dissipates. Like we talked about a few people we have in common. And it's like, how are you in the same place that you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago? It's like no growth. What are you doing? How are you spending your time? So the universe is a huge mirror. So it reflects back the frequency that you consistently hold. So once that energy changes and manifests, and it could vary from day to day, but once it really matches and mirrors those who are successful or those who are doing things in the world, everything becomes easy and effortless. And people say, oh my God, how did you get that? Or how did you do that? How'd you go to Iraq and not get hurt? It's like, because my frequency. And that's so hard for people to understand, because you just step into who you want to be. I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger saying something about, before he was famous, he put like a box in front of him, an imaginary box, and he would step into that imaginary box and become Arnold, this famous rich person. But when he'd step out of it, he was just Arnold, struggling, just moved to America with this accent. Everyone's saying, you're too big, your accent nothing will work, you'll never be a big star. And he was like, I'm going to be the number one star in the world. He stepped in his box and became Arnold. And he used to go around and say, would you like my autograph? I am going to be the biggest star in the world, and would just sign autographs for people in cafes or all this stuff. And it was like, he became him, and he became the number one box draw, the number one boxing or whatever he did.
Conan the Barbarian.
Conan. Yeah. And he became governor, and
Mr.
So
Olympia.
whatever he set his mind to, he became that, because he set his box. And that's what vibration is. You got to say, who do I want to be? Who do I want to meet? If your vibration doesn't match that, they won't notice you. They won't see you or take you seriously unless you're matching. They don't know why. And you don't know why. It's like, why is this person ignoring me? Or why is this person giving me all this attention? It's because of that.
It's interesting listening to you talk about that manifestation. I was talking to someone recently about dreaming. I gave a speech once, and I told people to stop dreaming. Dreaming's for sleeping. And you're talking about manifestation. and I think you should have seen how the people at first, but then they got it. But you're talking about manifestation and vibrational frequencies. I'm a big fan of that. In fact, in The Law of Success, written by Napoleon Hill, which is the precursor to Think and Grow Rich, he talks about that in 1915. It seems a little kind of like new age hippie-ish, but but it works. But the manifestation stuff that you're talking about and what you were describing with Arnold, and what I found is that it's not dreaming, it's the vision, and it's also following that up with the actions that you're talking about. Talk a little bit about what manifestation really is and how it really works, because again, it's not dreaming.
It's not dreaming. And what you just said makes a lot of sense. What I teach is, I have a book out called SoulBlazing. Woo! So what it talks about, here it is. What it talks about is the 7 imposters that are living on the stage of your brain, wreaking havoc in your life. And your imposters are showstoppers. They want center stage. They want all the attention. And they are the victim, the egotist, the seductor, the joker, the fixer, the overthinker, the judge. And where you want to come from is from your authentic soul. And when these imposters, which is just different aspects of your personality, when you're with certain people, you feel like a victim, especially like a lot of people in relationships. I always get dumped. I don't know what happens. You're a victim. So when you're in relationships, they feel that and they start treating you the way you present yourself. Again, it's vibration. Or you overthink everything. I want to write this book. I'm going to do this and that. As you see someone never following through, it's because they overthink it, or I'm a fraud and people are going to find out, or I'm not good enough. Or you judge everyone else. Oh, look at them. They think they're so great, whatever, because they're not doing something, and they keep judging others. So all these things are taking up all your time instead of you manifesting. So if you create the morning routine that I talked about earlier, I do a mind, body, heart, soul every day. I make my bed because then you did something. Someone said that somewhere at some point. I'm like, okay, you accomplished something. And then do something for mind, body, heart, soul. I write down 3 gratitudes every morning, just opening my eyes. I'm grateful I opened my eyes. I'm grateful I hear the birds singing right now. I'm grateful we don't have a war on our, soil today. Then I do something for the body. I stretch, or I go for a walk, whether it's a block or 3 miles. It doesn't matter. It's the point of telling yourself, I take you seriously. I am co-creating your life with you. I'm not going to just let the days go by. I read something powerful that inspires me. I talk to someone who inspires me, or tell someone I love them every day. Who do I love? Let me express it in a text or a phone call. And when you start your day like that, then look at your calendar, what you have planned, and you actually put in your calendar time for you as if you're the president of the United States. I am working on me from 10 to 12 today, and I don't take calls. I turn it off. That's my me time for self-love, self-growth, whatever. This time to this time is my CEO time. So when you block it in for you and make that sacred and make you important, that starts shifting your vibration. You can manifest more because now you've got a plan. You're on team, I'm on team Haisha. I'm on team. This is what I want. And why do you want it? I get people who come up to me and say, oh, I want to be a life coach. Can you teach me how? Can I go through your program? I go, why do you want that? Oh, I want to be a millionaire. Seems like an easy way. I can meet all these people. I'm like, you're not right for me. You're not. And I said, you'll never become a millionaire. Then you'll get mad at me and say, oh, SoulBlazing sucks. I paid all this money and it didn't work. I said, it's because you have to do, what is your why? What is your purpose? Why are you doing what you do? What is your gift that is uniquely yours? And how are you going to give it away? Once you give it away, you can monetize it, but you have to also be able to give it away. And I figured out my gift from traveling so much. My gift was connecting with people. I've connected with people all over the world. And it's about trying to shift their life. Once you talk to people from so many different cultures, you understand that culture and you realize, oh my God, we're all one. I talked to inmates in Chowchilla prison. Then I talked to orphanages. I spent 5 years going to 15 orphanages from Prague, Budapest, Japan, China, Taiwan, Macau, Australia, Israel, Iraq, Jordan, and spending time talking to them, interviewing them, filming them, recording them, and going, who are you? What makes you tick? Why did you come here? What were your parents like? What was this like? What was that like? I stayed with nomads and Bedouins in the mountains of Petra, and I interviewed and SoulBlazed a father with his 5 wives and 52 children and grandchildren. Who are you? What does this, mean to you? How come you have 5 wives? How do wives, what do you feel? What do you, all that stuff, question, so much curiosity because I was so sheltered. It's like, wow, what makes the world tick? And a friend represents a world in us that would not have been born unless we met them. And I learned that from traveling all over. So all these friends opened up a whole new world. I'm like, oh, this is Middle Eastern thinking. This is Asian thinking. This is European thinking. This is how Australians, Americans think. Then what are the things that connect us and what are the things that divide us? And how can I be a bridge to bringing people together and helping people understand and to bring more love into the world instead of hate, and bring more togetherness than division. And I spoke all over the world for that. I put my daughter in Barcelona for first grade. And I wrote this book, Whispers from Children's Hearts. And this is about my 5-year, 15 country journey to all these orphanages. And I gave it to schools and libraries. And I started getting asked to speak everywhere, especially in Barcelona. For some reason, I lucked out and the mayor wanted me to speak. I thought it was in front of like 30 people and ended up being in front of 1,000 people. This was before I was a speaker. I became a speaker because I started doing this, and I got kindergarten and first grade teachers. Oh, will you talk to our class? I got a little globe. Oh, fun facts. Let's start there. And do you know which country you could get thrown in jail for chewing gum? No, what? Oh, Singapore. Do you know this? All these fun facts. And I would, give them, say, I love you, and hello and goodbye in each language. So it was easy. So all of a sudden now I'm on a stage with all these diplomats and families and powerful people. And I just talked about the journey, and they said, what did you learn about being, in Barcelona? This is like 2 months you've been here. How have you been treated? And how do you feel? I started talking to them. Then I became part of their think tank of how to bring people together all over. And then that started, speak here, speak there. And now it's been about 10 years later, and I'm speaking everywhere. But I never said, I'm going to go out and be a speaker. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's baby steps. Who are you? I want to connect people. Then the universe figures it out. You just have to say, this is who I am. I declare it. Then the universe has got it, and they do everything. Then if you start vibrating at a certain level, people are going to go, you, hi. And you're going to just meet the right people, and things just happen.
Wow. Yeah. There's a lot that was just said there. And the one thing I would say to you is, I know that you were sheltered when you were younger, and it's too bad that you haven't experienced the world yet, but maybe you will someday soon. Again, we're on with Lisa Haisha. She's an internationally recognized speaker. She's a motivational speaker. She's also the author of a couple different books. Her latest book is titled SoulBlazing. If you'd like some more information about Lisa, you can just go to SoulBlazing.com. She not only speaks to she mentioned earlier, but thousands and thousands. She speaks all over the world, but she also works with individuals as well. She's got some programs that you can take advantage of. But I think one of the first things you want to do is go to SoulBlazing.com, see what the book's all about. And again, if you want to connect with her, like she talked about, you can certainly do that by going to SoulBlazing.com.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be wicked happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.
I want to go back to kind of really what the book is about. Man, you said so much stuff, but I want to talk about. But I think this whole imposter syndrome thing. There's my mass accent right there, imposter. So many of us suffer with it. I have suffered with it, and I think it's a daily battle sometimes of, okay, I am good enough, and I do have something to say, and I am worthy of success, and I am worthy of this. Talk about maybe the origins of imposter syndrome. And again, let's go, maybe you can talk a little bit more about those seven types, and what people can really do about it and how to overcome it.
Yeah, they start early on when you're a child. When someone says, stop doing that. Like my mom was washing my hair when I was in first grade. And then when I went to school that day and took the school photo and she saw it, my hair was a little messy. And she's like, I spent time fixing your hair. And she goes, so that made her look bad. And she goes, quit being like me, because she didn't like herself. And I loved her and I admired her, but she felt I had her qualities. Quit being like me. None of the girls are like me, but you, and you look like me. I'm like, oh, so what I look like is wrong and who I am is wrong. And that creates an imposter. So then I started wearing a mask. I remember so early on, so much so that I changed my name. I was Sharon Lisa, and I made it Lisa Sharon because Sharon there was a girl in school who was icky and her name was Sharon. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be associated with her. And I don't resonate with the Sharon, and Sharon's wrong. And Sharon, so now I'm Lisa. So, okay, fresh start. And when you don't feel like who you are is okay, we start then creating more things. Then as you get boyfriends or girlfriends or friends, they start criticizing and each other or doing whatever you do. School teachers will start saying, oh, here in fifth grade, it was like, here are the A students are in this group, B students are here, C and D. Literally, our desks were in circles. And then if you got a better grade, you got to go to the next one. So it's like labeled, you're the dumb ones, you're the smart ones, you're the average ones. So that starts getting imprinted in your brain. So you're like, oh, I'm average. So you start living life as average. Or I'm smart. So you go, oh, I'm smart. So I don't have time to make friends. So many of my really brilliant friends are just smart. And they say, if you're a BC student, you're usually more successful because you're more well-rounded, because you know how to be social, you know how to keep friends, and you're more of a well-rounded person, where a smart person, their parents just study, 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 study. So once you start going, oh, I've been playing the role as a victim, I've been playing a role as a judge, or I've been overthinking. So you could start looking at that in your life right now of, when you sabotage yourself, go, where did that come from? So I name it. I say, you can't heal it unless you can name it and claim it. So here's, oh, that was my mom who said that. So you give it a name, either her name or you give it a name. And then you start saying, okay, when you start doing that behavior, you start catching, oh, that's, Lynn, or that's Melissa, or that's Tom, or that's Dave. Then you go, oh, that's nice. And you can look at it. Then I go home and write authentic soul in that imposter. And I just channel. So my authentic soul says, why did you do that? Or why did you do that behavior? Then it says, oh, I was scared about this. And then you write it down. And then the next time it comes up, same situation. Let's even just say relationships. If you tend to hurt people, or in relationships, you're selfish or whatever. And you're going, God, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Or you take abuse from someone. Why did I let that person do that? If you start writing that down, then you start being aware of it. When it happens again, you go, wait. So I created this thing called Soul, SOUL, because SoulBlazing. And it's the best way to work through the noise and the fiction of your imposters, because all your imposters is the stories you were told. So now they're manifesting in baggage, and you wear a mask. Oh, no one's ever going to hurt me again. I'm a victim, so I'm going to put on this mask. I'm super smart. I'm super successful, even though you're not, because now people will love and respect me because I'm a victim. But inside you're going, oh my God, and crying at home all alone. But you think you're fooling everyone, and you're not. Or you're judging everyone because you judge yourself so harshly because you're not making it. So you want to tear down everyone else. Or you're an egotist and you don't care who you shit on because you just want to make it. I don't care. I'll step on everyone's toes and cheat, lie, steal because I need this for my ego, because I was always told you're never going to make it. Or I was told you're a king and you deserve it. So the behavior starts. But once you start going, who gave me this? Who gave me this mask to wear? Why am I like this? Then it starts to dissolve and you start to understand who you are. And in combination of that, I do declarations. You've heard affirmations, but I call it declarations because whatever issue you have, you create a declaration of how you want to change. And then I say those every morning in the mirror, and I record them on my phone and listen to them. Like if you feel you're heavy, I live in a strong, healthy body, just whatever resonates with you, not just.
You're the second person to call me fat today. I don't appreciate that. No.
Did someone do that? So that's.
I was just kidding around. I was kidding around with somebody earlier. I was like, yeah, I'm a little heavy, but no, that's boy, you're just your insight is just amazing. But even like the little thing that you just said, which to some people sounds bizarre. You and I, before we went live, we talked about Zig Ziglar, and Zig Ziglar taught me a lot of different things. And one of the things I talk about in my first book that he taught me was, and you talked again about, that first thing you do in the morning. I would clap my hands and say, I'm going to have a fantastic day. I'm going to have a terrific day. That's how I would start my day. And I pretty much do that all the time. But it's interesting what you just said too. The simple things of recording some sort of affirmation for yourself that you listen to every day. It sounds, again, just corny, right? It sounds just kind of silly. But that little thing that you're talking about that you just said there, I know people that do this. It reminds me of the kind of the skit on Saturday Night Live. It was kind of like making fun of it with Stuart Smalley. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Well, that works, doesn't it? Those little things that work. One more thing before you answer. I remember I had family members that were early on and they were with Amway. And I remember seeing on the mirror, there were these words on this. And I was like, what is that? And I back, Amway's a cult, all this weird shit. But no, they were just teaching them how to defeat imposter syndrome, how to feel good, and how to live with purpose. Right. But that simple thing that you just talked about, anybody can do it. It doesn't cost them anything. Right.
Yeah. And like you said, it sounds really silly. I think it took me about 5 or 6 years from hearing that or reading it in self-help books. I'm like, oh, that's so silly. I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. Then finally, when my life started turning, I'm like, oh, I really need to get to the next level. I said, okay, I'm going to just do it. What do I have to lose? I'm doing it. And I started doing it. I'm like, ooh, shifts are happening. Or I think my vibration started changing. And all of a sudden I start meeting people and the right people are coming into my life and interesting jobs are coming into my life. And, the more I did that, they say that if a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon rainforest, it can change the weather halfway around the world. So what that means is that everything that happens in this moment is an accumulation of everything that's come before it. So all your work that you've done is who you are today. So if you're failing and I'm not doing that, that's silly, or that's too much work, or you don't follow through, or you're not going to do a morning routine, then that's just dumb. Good luck, have fun, but don't blame others who are successful and don't hate on them or get jealous of them because, oh, they just got lucky or they did that. No, they didn't. Oh, that person married rich, or that person just got that book deal because of their relative. And it's no, they're vibrating. Nobody will marry you or give you that book deal if you're not someone they value or think that is, worthwhile. But people always want to do that because they don't want to do the work. And once I started doing that, it's oh my God, I wanted to get married at some point because my dad was dying. He had a heart attack and he said, if you don't get married, I can't die. And I'll die so sad. And because at Middle Eastern, your daughter has to be married. I'm like, Dad, I don't think I ever want to get married or have kids. You have to get married. So I'm like, dang, I have to get married just because if he dies, I'm going to have guilt the rest of my life. So I did what most people do. I got online and I just wrote as a joke, impress me. And that was my whole profile. I was in a black outfit going down an escalator at LAX with my, suitcase. Then someone said, I could impress you. I'm like, try. And then we met and we ended up getting married and he impressed me. Anyway, I hope I like this person because I have to marry him because I'm on a timeline. I hope he's a nice person. But then you attract, and I attracted someone who was vibrating at my level. And then he made me vibrate higher and I did it to him. He was a person who knew how to manifest in this world and make money. And I was a person who knew how to manifest and giving back. I was traveling all over. I created the Whispers from Children's Hearts Foundation, which I held these big, events with 350 people with 50 press. And we gave away 20,000 to the person who was grassroots doing stuff for children. And anyway, traveled all over and he hates being around people and he hates giving back, but he wants to give, but he's not a people person. He's like, I know how to make money, but I don't know how to do that other thing. And I was good at that. And he's more of a loner. And he's like, you really travel? Are you going to continue traveling if we're married? Because he said, I hate the day in, day out of marriage. I'm like, trust me, I travel 3 to 4 months a year. I'll just travel in a little more, fancy style, if we're together. So yes, I continued the travels and he loved it because I'm like, oh, I'm in Tanzania with the Maasai tribe. I'm drinking goat's blood and, hiking the waterfalls with them. And then, oh, now I'm in the Rwanda tribunals in Zanzibar. Oh, now I'm shark diving in Cape Town. And he's like, oh, cool. Well, he's on his show. Oh, I'm in Tokyo. Here, talk to the guy. What do you want? I'll get you some gadgets, because he hates travel and he hates all that stuff, but he loves the adventure. So I wasn't like, guess what? Did you hear this mom went to Louis Vuitton and she spent this much? And then that mom, and did you know that her son said this to my kid? And, all that stuff. He goes, I can't do any of that. What I see all my friends going through, I'm like, that won't be me. Trust me, forget Beverly Hills. I'm in Africa. I'm in Kenya. I'm in Cairo. So I went and lived in Cairo. I had a dream. You're supposed to go to Cairo. I woke him up at 2 a.m. I think I'm going to go to Cairo next week. He goes, what are you talking about, guy? I just had a dream. I'm supposed to go study Arabic. He's like,
I told you earlier, dreaming's for sleeping.
I know, but I dreamed it. And then I woke up and manifested it. So that's what happened. And when it was off, and I had this amazing adventure, and he's like, cool. So we had a great relationship in that way because we were a great mix. So, but I attracted that, we were vibrating at the same thing. You wouldn't have attracted that if it wasn't meant to be, or you wouldn't have noticed something in someone, or he wouldn't have noticed in me of what a good match this could be. And he only went to Hawaii before that, and Bahamas, and now he's been to 10 countries. He worked in missions in Cambodia, carrying lice-filled, babies, hepatitis C babies through lice fields. And he's like, I'm on vacation a month a year. I'm like, sorry, dude, this is what you got to do. If you're going to be with me, you have to know my world. But that opened his eyes, took him to Cuba, and everywhere. Croatia, Fiji, all over the world. And he's like, God, I would have never done any of that, because he doesn't have that. So you give to people. So all of us have something unique. So what can you give of you to make a relationship work, whether it's business, family, this and that? And you have to carve that out. How am I of service to my children, to my spouse, to my friends, to my colleagues? And how do I weave a life that I could give to all and not give my energy to hangers on or takers or haters? I have to stay around positive, high vibrational people and create a life where I'm a good mom and I'm done. Oh, my work. I've got to make millions. It's all about me. No. This is my daughter's time. People call, sorry, I'm with my kid. Can't you go? Nope. Can't go to that event. This is, daughter time. This is mom time. This is CEO time. This is self-care time. This is friendship time. And you manage it. Then if you have to move something sometimes like we do, but you take that block and you put it someplace else in your calendar so you don't lose it. It's just moved. But you don't take that lightly. It has to be something special.
Boy, again, I just hope that someday you'll be able to experience the world and experience what it all has to offer for you. Someday you might.
Someday.
My
dream. It's my dream.
I want to, I know we don't have a ton of time, but in a minute, I want to talk to you about purpose. It sounds like, that's what we've been talking about a little bit. I think a lot of people struggle with that, how to find it, and really what it is in just a second. Again, we've been on with Lisa Haisha. You've heard her. She's an internationally recognized speaker. She's an author. She travels all over the world. She's a philanthropist. She's been on television. She swam with sharks. She talked about earlier. She's drank goat's blood. She's been in countries I've never even heard of. This woman is truly a trailblazer. Her latest book is actually called SoulBlazing. She works with individuals and groups as well to help them find themselves and help them really kind of level up, so to speak, and get on that vibrational level that we've been talking about so much, and how to really, just live the best version of yourself. So if you'd like some more information about Lisa, you can just go to soulblazing.com. Again, at soulblazing.com. So purpose, right? You hear it all the time. Oh, you got to find your purpose. If you find your purpose, then, it's not work. And, but it sounds, it's a lot of kind of pie in the sky type stuff, right? Because there are so many people that are struggling, and they're, they need to worry about the day to day of, keeping the electricity on, and now putting gas in the gas tank, and all these other things. I worry, and I think about these people who never get the opportunity to get there, to find their purpose. Talk about, one, how people find their purpose, and is there a way to fast track it, especially if you are dealing with, the societal and financial constraints of just everyday life, because you hear about, moms and dads, and, they get married, they get kids, and they have all this other stuff, and they're just not fulfilled. how can people find their purpose? Virtually anybody, how do they find it?
Well, that's such a great question. You're so good at your job. You really know how to dig deep and get the juice. That question I get asked quite a bit of, well, I don't have those opportunities. How can I find my purpose when I'm just trying to figure out how to pay rent? One of my daughter's best friends, mom drives Uber till like 8:30, and her son has to leave school by himself and just walk around and sit in cafes or whatever with no money until 8:30, until his mom comes and picks him up. Then they either sleep in the car or they get a motel that night. And he was talking to me going, my poor mom, and I'm trying to help her. And I look at that. And so I talk to the mom and I'm like, how do you spend your days? What do you do? And she,
oh, I lost you.
No, yeah, like most people, she feels like a victim. I don't have the wherewithal. I'm too tired to think about that. These things, it's like what you and I were talking about. Oh yeah, that's cute. I'm not doing it. That's all silly. Until it's not, until you go, I have nothing to lose. I want to go to the next level. I've been staying at this level for so long. So I told her, please create your declarations. And I sat there with her. Who do you want to be? How do you want to be this person? This and that. I said, look, you manifested me, and I charge a lot of money for what I do. You happen to be here picking up your kid. So listen, just write this down. What do you do in the morning? She was, I get up, I get stressed out. I go into panic. I have anxiety. I'm really in a bad mood. And I get my kid up to school. And I'm usually yelling at him because he did this, this, and this. I said, okay, let's just start there. So to answer your question, it's the simple things and the small things. I call it 3-foot tosses. You can't go from 1 to a million. You go from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3. So you go, okay, what do I have control over? You have control over what time you wake up. You set the alarm regardless of what time you go to bed. And someone who I love is David Goggins. I don't agree with everything, and I don't want to be David Goggins. I don't want to push myself that hard, but I like
his language. Him and I vibe on that. We speak the same language.
Yeah. But he has such great mindset. So I said, you got to change your mindset. Get up at 5, regardless. Go take a walk. Be in nature, say a prayer, write down who you want to be, say those declarations, look at yourself in the mirror and say you're going to be positive. You're going to, whatever it is, you want to manifest this. This is who you are. State who you are. And then be the Arnold Schwarzenegger, step in that box and say, this is who I am. And she's like, but I don't have time for that. I'm exhausted. I said, if you don't have time for that, your life is going to stay the same. These are your choices. You don't have money to hire a big coach. You don't have this, you don't have that, but you manifested me. Now you could call me. I will work with you if you do this. If you don't do this, we have nothing to talk about, because it's the simplest thing. That's about self-love. And I said, you don't love yourself, because she went on and on about how she's always failed and she never had help. Nobody helped her. Her parents died, all this stuff. I said, so it's up to you to love yourself. Once you love and care about yourself, other people will. Then they'll pick up on it. You're not going to be the tired, angry, victim to everyone you meet, where they're just like, oh, stay away from that person. I said, then your son is picking up on everything you're doing. So, you're teaching him the same patterns. So once you start to shift, he'll start to shift. So she started doing it. And then she called the other day saying, oh my God, I got this other job. And it's, I could work that part-time and I don't have to work to 8:30 anymore. I could now work till 7. I could do Uber part-time. And I have this job that's paying $25 an hour. I just developed this skill and And I'm like, see, it's small, right? But it helps. So she goes, what else? Give me my next lesson. So to answer your question, it's baby steps. Just start loving yourself. Even if it's just looking at yourself in the eyes and saying, I love you, and say your name. I love you, Lisa. I love you, Lisa. And just sit there and look at yourself. That is so hard to do. So hard. And I tell people, I don't know about if we could say it on the show, but to do it naked sometimes too, because we are so embarrassed. Oh, this isn't right. That's not right. Once you just go, this is who I am today. I love me for who I am. And I love my shoulders. I love my chest. I love my arms. I love my belly. I love my legs. They help me walk. And then once you start doing that, you start losing weight, because as much as, God, I hate this. I'm too fat. Oh, nothing looks good on me. It's going to keep perpetuating. You have to start doing the opposite. I love and appreciate you that I have legs, that I have a stomach that works, that I have arms that could carry things. Then you set your alarm and just go out and do it. Even if it's 15 minutes, just get up, walk around the block, come home, or walk 3 houses down and walk back, because you're training yourself. Then walk 5 houses down, come back, then walk around the block. But if you just do it every day, something, or if it's just stretching, do a stretch for 2 minutes. That's it. And then you take the walk for 3 houses down, then 5 houses down. Within 1 month, you could completely transform. And then within 3 months, you're a different person. 6 months, forget about it. 1 year, you're going, I can't believe that's where I was a year ago.
Wow, that was awesome. And I think it's a great place to end it. You know, ultimately, we're talking about doing the work. Like if you want it, if you really want to transform your life, you have to do the work. And this is what Lisa has been helping people do all over the world. Again, you've heard her story a little bit, joking around about, you know, her not living her best life. But of course she is. She's traveled all over the world. She's learned about all these different cultures, how they all work together. She talked about earlier, she's great at connecting people, and she's just ultimately great at helping people as well. Her latest book is titled SoulBlazing. If you'd like some more information about Lisa, if you want to work with her, go to SoulBlazing.com. I think maybe one of the first things you want to do is pick up the book and learn about these different imposter syndromes that we all battle with, that we all kind of deal with. There are things that you can do. Man, she gave some free stuff out. You heard her talk about this earlier. She's highly regarded. She's also highly sought after, and quite frankly, charges a ton of money, a lot of money to work with people. But if you don't have all the resources like we talked about earlier, and you really want it, you've got to start somewhere. Start by going to SoulBlazing.com, pick up the book, read the book, internalize it. She also has, you could just Google her as well. And her last name is spelled Haisha. So it's Lisa, Haisha. She's got a YouTube account. She's been on TV. She's doing all this other stuff. I think the best way to kind of learn about what she's doing in her ecosystem is by going to SoulBlazing.com. Look, we have a lot of people on this show, entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, and entrepreneurs like Lisa herself, that really are pouring into you because they've been through it. They've seen it. They've gone through difficult times, and they just want to help you ultimately. So if you want to change your life, if you want to find your purpose, if you want to live the best version of yourself, go to SoulBlazing.com. My name is Mike Alden. This has been another edition of the Alden Report. That's Lisa Haisha. We'll see you soon.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be wicked happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.